Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast. It was like 117 trees.
I'd have to go back and look, but it's up to 120 some trees now, I believe, because that was before Krausen and Yant and before Saunders and Boo Boo Rivers. And so we've had 2 hunts since then, and yeah, we've still never had 2 dogs on the same tree.
So from a guy out on the West Coast, the reasoning behind that, like, you see that as a big plus, right? Like the handlers would consider that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good thing. Just because you don't have to split points, like, because I'm assuming, like, under competition style, you get your strike and tree points, but if they all end up at different trees, your strike would end up splitting down the line, but your tree, you could potentially have first tree on all 4 dogs.
Well, the EHS is a little different because these dogs, and right now they're geared for 3 to 4 dog hunts, 3 to 4 dog casts. And so in a 4 dog cast, your ideal dog is laser fast. It's going to be treed first. It is going to be struck first. And then after that, it's driver's seat because you're the first dog to get scored. You're the first dog to get cut back loose. And so when you think of independence in the Elite Handler Series, these dogs are the dogs that are the same ones that are winning trucks and winning $6,500 hunts and competing at the PKC World Championship and stuff. And so that independence just carries over. We tailor the scoring for independence because it's a trait that we look for. There's multiple reasons why. It makes it way easier on the handler. If you're in a calling contest and because you have to have a dog in coon hunting, you have to have a dog that's one or the other. It either has to back and you know it's going to be there, or it either has to be by itself and you know it's not going to be there. Because that tree call is the most important call any coon hunter is going to make. When John Strickland, who we were just talking about, he won the interim championship with Champ in the EHS. When he says tree Champ, he has to know that Champ is going to be right there where he said he was going to be tree.
Right.
And so these half dogs, and I've seen a lot of them, and it's a common occurrence in pups that will bang around and they don't really want to be there, but they don't really want to leave. Those dogs are hard to handle because you don't know if they're going to actually be on that tree. You don't know if they're going to peel off and get by themselves. And so the best way to do it is to have a dog that you know is never going to tree with anything. It's always going to be, every time it gets treed, it's going to be treed in the Elite Handler Series 400 or in UKC PKC for 125. If you know that it's going to be either first or not there at all, it makes it so much easier on the handler. And you get all your points, you get all that stuff, but the side effect is that maybe you don't get some points that you should get. Dogs jam a real quick coon out of the truck. Yours pouts around, piles out, and then all of a sudden there's 3 dogs on that tree in a 4 dog cast. They're all getting plussed, and you're off by yourself. You better get treed real fast after that, or you're in deep trouble because they're already so many points ahead of you, and they're getting recut loose.
See, it's such a different world. So, like, let's say if I was just free casting dogs, I mean, the odds of a dog hitting the same piece of game, I would assume, isn't too far-fetched. You know, the hot end and the cold end.
Most times that you turn loose, because them dogs, they're still going to be with each other for the first 150, 200 yards, 300 yards, 400 yards, whatever. But that dog these dogs are so independent now, and then you'll pick up a babbler here and there that likes to bark, whether it's actually tracking or not. If you've got a babbler in the cast and 4 independent dogs, the minute that dog starts barking, those other 3 are peeling out. They don't want any
Like
part of
they
something.
will leave a good
They will
track to
make
get on their own.
a
That's
point
wild.
to not be anywhere near anything that's barking.
I mean, I get it. Like even us hunting in packs out here, if they don't, like if they can't trust a dog and it starts babbling, they will leave it too, and they'll start hunting like crap. They won't do what they always do. It's like you're
Yep.
throwing a wrench in things. But that's what I was thinking. I'm thinking, okay, well, the way a coon kind of feeds through, I'm thinking you could hit the hot end and the cold end within 50 yards of each other. You know, walk up one log, down
Yep.
another, whatever. And you got 2 dogs running towards the tree. One of them's going to pull up, and another one's just going to choose to say, "Screw it, I'm out of here, and I'm going to go find something else." That's mind blowing.
Funny. It's funny watching older dogs that are real independent and have been all throughout their career and don't want to be around dogs and stuff because they're not quite. They don't have the gear. They don't have the legs. You know, they can't outrun that pup. And so they will do so many tricks to get away from a pup that's following them or whatever. Some of them will just turn around and whip the pup. Some of them will just turn
Old
around and be
dog
like,
stuff.
yes. They're just
They
like,
all
look,
do it.
you're not supposed to be here. Get away from me. But I remember Trader late in his career would literally stand 60 yards from you once you turned him loose. Con was the same way. They would just stand there. And once everything got treed or once everything got away from them, then they would go hunt.
That's wild.
I mean, they would do, these old dogs will do some crazy things to be alone. But a lot of it's not, some of it is natural. I've seen natural born loners, but a good portion of it is just how we hunt them. You know, they're smart dogs. They figure it out.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Elite Handler series is just one of these kind of series, but it's new. And that's why I really wanted to have you back on, Josh, was because like, I know we talk in passing once every 6 months, it seems like,
right.
But you know, it's like, we're both busy and I wanted to just touch base.
When you interrupt my breakfast at the hotel.
Yeah. Right. No kidding. Are you going back next year?
I wasn't even awake yet. I didn't even recognize you for like the first 2 or 3 minutes. You know, when
I know that.
we were at Grand American, you know. Yeah, and I was just like, "Hey,
going
what's
back?
up?" You know, and I'm over eating my eggs. Then I finally look up. I'm like, "Oh, that's Jason."
And I'm like, "That's that a-hole Josh over there." Like,
yeah, no kidding. What a dick.
Nah, it was all good, dude. After like 2 days there, everybody was groggy. That was a lot. Like after travel and whatnot. Because how far away is that from you? It's not horrible, right?
Yep. It's about 17 hours to drive.
Oh, geez. So it's farther than I was thinking for you.
Yeah.
We'll go back. I already put it on the calendar for vacay time.
That was actually my first Grand American because it's so far from me. I go to Autumn Oaks. I've been to the Winter Classic, you know, but that was my first Grand American, and it was fun. I like it. It's a different when you're talking about Eastern coon hunters.
It's different, huh?
You know, there's Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, all that, and then it's like it's a different group, completely away from itself and everything out there at South Carolina. So it was fun. I like it out there.
So if you go out this time, I mean, are you guys filming? Are you like looking for?
I would like to if I make it out to. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
If I make it out to Grand American again, because it is usually the same week as the Lone Star 5000 down in Texas, which is one of my favorite events. So I don't want to skip the Lone Star. But if I can get by with getting the Grand American and the Lone Star as well, I want to go out there, film the finals, do all the fun stuff that I do for Cane Stream and all that. And we want to incorporate more UKC events, which technically, I guess Grand American isn't a UKC event, but it is.
Right.
You know, it pretty much is. And so I want to do some more UKC stuff, you know, Autumn Oaks, Winter Classic, you know, the big ones.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's like for us, it's just you're jumping a plane if you're going to do anything. because we're so far from it out here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Autumn Oaks, I'll be in. I think I get in Wednesday. And then Grand American, because, that side of the world, in the coon hunting world, I followed it pretty close back when we had blue dogs, and I met a lot of great people. I just showed up to the World Hunt and ran into Robbie Brooks. Like, I was looking for him, meeting the Downings and a lot of those people, Jay Leahy, and I mean, you could go on and on, but just the group of people you kind of knew. So I was really following dogs out there for a while, and then life happened, and I'm like, just now kind of coming back into following the coonhound stuff because obvious reasons. I mean, we need to know who's doing what and what we're liking. And it's like, oh, you kind of find a dog and you start following it a little bit now. And it's different when it's been, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. It's a long time to not be following something. Those dogs are gone. they have totally changed in 8 years.
The coonhound world goes really fast on the competition side about what's big today and what's big tomorrow. If you're not keeping up with it, it's easy to lose track. I get messages every day at, hey, I used to hunt Naylor blood, or I used to hunt Lipper blood, or I used to hunt Hillbilly Mac stuff. Do you know where any of that is? I'm like, that's all gone, dude.
That's what's wild.
I mean, there are there are so many different dogs now that you can say it's Naylor bred, or you could say it's a Lipper bred, or you could say it's Finley River or whatever, but it's really not. It's
right
6, 7, 8 generations away from that now, and so it's different.
Yeah, and that's what I've been on a semen hunt for years. I mean, there were dogs out there I was trying to get. I ended up with a male. He was off of Kentucky River Rowdy. And what was that dog's name? Grace. It was a Lipper daughter off of Lipper's last draw. So I mean, it was Triple Crown winner with Lipper top and bottom. And I'm like, yeah, surefire deal. Send that thing out here, because we were looking at breeding it into some of this West Coast stuff, and the dog just didn't work out for us. We ended up making an arrangement with the breeder and got him somewhere else. But the point was, I was looking for that old blood, because it seems like nowadays, even this pup I just picked up for myself, she's 11 months old, really close related to what I'm already hunting, but 3 generations down the line, and my bitch is only 6 years old. So it's kind of that every year and a half they're breeding the next generation off of them. So in the coon world, that's you're saying is what it's registering to me. It's it's just going so fast. Is big timber still a big thing? I was a blue tick guy. So big timber was pretty big not that long ago. And now you see grandpups off of them. It seems like, is that wrong? Or am I?
No, you're right on. I know that, because I've had stud dogs in the past. Of course, I always keep track, and not the blue tick stuff as much as I do the Walker stuff, or the whatever other breed. But it doesn't take long, especially in the Walkers, to hit the next big thing. And the next big thing is winning right now, and then pups will win 2 or 3 years, and then you're on the next big thing. And those pups are not viable anymore because they're all getting beat. They're all getting beat like a drum by this new stud dog pups that are 1 and 2 years old. And so, it goes through crazy. That's why studs that have, longevity are so crazy to me, because there's not many of them. You can think of maybe a handful of top name stud dogs in the money side of it, where we're hunting for money. And, 2 years later, that dog's obsolete. And you don't see those pups in hunts anymore. And a lot of it has to do with how fast we burn our pups out, too. They get burned out pretty quick in the competition side.
See, we couldn't be really involved in it. We only had 1 or 2 clubs out here. And you're hunting with the same 3 guys. If you're lucky, you might get a 4-dog cast. But I remember when I went back to Wisconsin and I met Robbie and Lisa and Savannah Brooks, and I wanted to see Sid. So my grandma had passed, my great grandmother from Michigan. We ended up flying out there
Mm-hmm.
with my dad. Run down. I'm like, hey, just drop me off at this coon hunt. Like, I didn't know what the heck it was. We were
Yeah.
brand new, but I'm like, just drop me off down in Ohio. Come pick me up in like 12 hours, whatever. I just lost my job. So I'm like, forget it. I'm taking the trip. I'm going to go help dad with grandma. I'm going to go to this hunt. And I introduced myself to him, but I got to like sit there and see Sid, like put hands on Sid and
Yeah.
look at his feet at freaking 11 years old and say, holy cow, like he really is solid. And we ended up
Yeah.
working a deal out, and I brought a female home that was Rush Creek Opie bred and on this some Mad Dog stuff, and like I was trying to get there, but holy cow, like you had to go out there and see it, and a quad grand dog is a big deal still, but
Yeah.
to see it and put hands on it, and for me, it was a really weird experience. Where now it seems like God, the next big thing is the next big thing. To me, like a legendary
Yeah.
dog is different out here. And I'm not trying to play the East Coast, West Coast thing. I'm just
I
saying,
get
like,
it.
when a dog makes a reputation out here, they hold that reputation forever.
Yeah.
Like you got guys out there like Mike Kemp and the Turner family, and a lot of the guys in Wyoming and Montana that have these dogs that are like legendary. I would say stud dogs. I guess the closest thing you would have out here to call a stud dog. And out there in your world, it's like, holy crap, every couple of
Yeah.
weeks there's like, I like watching those Lone Pine dogs. I don't know anything necessarily about them except what I see, and I've talked with like a few guys. And if I was going to drag a walker home right now, that's probably where I would start. I mean, personally.
Well, I remember, because back in the day, before the internet and before all these hunts were live and all this stuff, you only got to see what was in the books. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
legendary dogs. I remember Nocturnal Nailer, and I remember Sackett Jr. and Rat Attack and Triple Creek Rat, who I just done a little portion of a video on and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, man, these dogs. But we've lost some of that, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Because here, especially me, because I'm exposed to these dogs, it seems like every weekend. Just the other weekend, I'm in Reading, Michigan. We're in the finals of a pro sport truck hunt, and Lefty, who Dustin Weed is handling now, and him and Travis Black own, um, one of my favorite dogs of all time. When Michael Ward hunted him, I liked him. Every time I've got to hunt with the dog looked good. He doesn't say much on the ground. He's good about having his coons. He's got a good mouth. He's got all this stuff. And 20 years ago, before I'm in the position that I'm in, I would have been in awe of just being around him. And now here I am. He's just another dog. And I
Mm-hmm.
hate that. I don't like it. I don't like having this idea that these dogs don't walk on water, because I think that's important for how people view things. And so when I see somebody that's just like, holy crap, I get to hold Lefty on a leash while Dustin Weed shines this tree, which I did. I'm over here. Dustin's trying to shine this tree. He's got Lefty on a leash. I'm like, here, hand me that dog. I can
Right.
hold him in the camera. It ain't no big deal. And, I'm sitting there with Lefty on the leash, and I'm thinking, this would have been my dream, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right.
And here I am holding this dog like it's nothing. And
Yeah.
so I envy that. I wish we still had more of that, but social media has taken a lot of that away. The
Yeah.
idea that, it used to be when Pac-Man went out and you seen the scorecard, you didn't know actually how the hunt went. And all that stuff, and you thought he was the greatest thing ever, and you would kill for a dog like that. And now you go out there and I'm there and I see the dogs, and yeah, they are better than mine. Don't get me wrong. But they're just dogs,
Yeah.
and so that a lot of that mystique has gone away. And so that's why, going back to the elite handler shures, we're trying to focus on the handlers, because John Strickland doesn't even own the dog that he won the interim championship with now.
Right.
Lefty, who was in the very first EHS hunt, is not even owned by the same guy now. So these dogs change hands, but these handlers are so good, and they're good about not only being a talent scout and a good hunter and a good trainer and stuff, but they're good in so many areas that we're trying to highlight them. And I think that's where the next mystique lies, that, oh my gosh, this is Dustin Weed, or oh my gosh, this is Michael Ward, or oh my gosh, this is John Strickland, or whoever, Barry Kitty. But, there's a bunch of them. So that's kind of where we're headed now. But yeah, I remember Jess Dickerson was the first real big name guy that I got to spend time with and be around and hunt with and stuff. And I was just, when I got to hang out with Jess and I would be in his truck and we'd go to a hunt, I would puff out. And, I'm Jess Dickerson. Here's a nocturnal nailer. I got to feed this dog one time.
I cleaned up nocturnal nailer crap.
I miss that. I really miss that. Yeah, that's right. I scooped his poop. I did everything, watered him, you name it. I've got the whole X Junior. I've done all this stuff. And so, yeah, that was a thing. And I miss that. And there's still some of that out there. And I get that through the Cane Stream messages. And that's really important to me. I love that people are still in awe of some of these dogs because they are fantastic animals. And I think that I'm just numb to it now because I've been exposed to it so much. And I have to remember, just like Jason, when you get a new guy on a podcast, when I get some of my guys on a podcast, they're just like, I don't know. But then I remember the first time Chris Powell asked me to be on Houndsman XP. And I was like, holy shit, I've made it.
I'm a big freaking deal.
Yes, I'm a big deal. I'm out here pissing excellence. That's what I'm doing. And
it's crazy.
But we got to remember that. And we got to remember. Yeah.
I hear it a lot. I mean, because honestly, I spend so much time on the phone with W and then the voice on the podcast. It's like there's a lot of conversations, every single day, probably several times it seems like, is, oh yeah, I heard it on the podcast, or thanks for putting the podcast out. I work all day and I listen. And it's like hard to believe because it's been, we just hit 1.5 million downloads in 3 years. I guess it's 4 years now. We started in April of 2020. But now it's like, who can I call, get on a podcast that's going to be just like good conversation? Because, I don't know, it's kind of like referring back to these dogs, the next best one. Like there's always the next best one, and it's always a scramble to try to stay like current. And for me, I'd rather just get guys on that can talk dogs, talk people, talk about what affects us, and just go with it. I can't stay up on. There's not enough time for me to follow enough things to like hit today's flame every week or every couple weeks. It's just not something I can do.
No, and it gets to where, and we're gonna have to evolve with the podcast too, because you guys have done, between you and Brett Vaughn and Chris and all the other podcasts that do a lot of the Western game. How many great houndsmen of the past can you still do? We can. I love those podcasts. Those were some of my favorites, and the videos or whatever. But eventually we're all going to have to evolve. We're going to have to figure out a way to make this viable long term because, we are, I hate the term dying breed, but we are a limited resource. Houndsmen are a limited resource. There's only so many of us. And so we're going to have to find a way to make entertaining content and entertaining podcasts, videos, whatever it may be, and do it in a way that is sustainable, for a very long term.
Well, that's just it. Like you said, you record and you get an interview or two, but that's it. Like, you're not getting them on another podcast. That's what I love going through. I know every once in a while I'll send you an old ad or something from Full Cry, but I like when I'm going through all those because
I love them.
What was it? The Majestic Treehound. They always had such cool vintage articles, about Ben Lilly and this and that. So like literally by us doing the new Full Cry from the pages of Full Cry, we can have different ones about the same topics, like how many letters were written about one guy. But that's a very unique situation, and that's why we own it. I mean, really, that was a big part of the brand, was having everything and content there, because I can't be the guy. I can't be you I can't be on the road. I don't know how you do it, dude. Like with our family and what we got going on, it'd be miserable. So my
I
hat's
found that
off to
not
you.
sleeping helps.
Yeah, caffeine and
Yeah, not sleeping is a big deal. You know, if you can go by without sleeping, you save a lot of time during the day, I've found.
that's no joke. What do you people always think I'm lying. You can literally find me and Danny working at midnight pretty much any given night. And then it's back up. You
Yeah,
know, like
exactly.
when do you ever sleep? It's
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't know. Like some nights it's 4 hours, some nights it's 7, some like I don't know what to tell you, but when you got the hustle, you gotta hustle. That's all there is to it. And you're
I'm gonna
hustling.
do a video a day in the life of, and I'll just tell you here what my day consists of on weekends I'm not traveling or weeks that I'm not traveling is, because I have two small children at home, and no matter how busy this gets, they are always the top priority. And so I will hunt usually until about 2 to 3 a.m. every morning, except for Sundays. I don't hunt on Sundays. And then I'll get in, try to get to bed by 3. Sometimes, depending on how the dogs look, that doesn't happen this time of year. But I'll get to bed by 3. I will wake up right at 8:30 is what my alarm's set at, so I get 5.5 hours of sleep. Uh, get up, get chores done. The kids are still asleep because it's summer break.
Yeah.
I'll get the chores done, make sure that dogs all have fresh water because it's hot. I tie them up usually from 8:30 to 10:30 during the day. Even if I hunt them the night before, I like them to stretch out in the grass, be in the shade, all that stuff.
Sure.
My kids have it made, so they will wake up around 9:30 or 10 usually. I
Take a
will
nap
give
at
them,
11.
yeah, I'll give them a short snack for breakfast. I'll cook lunch at noon. After lunch, I sit down in front of my computer and I start editing. I start doing podcasts. I start doing all the stuff that you guys do, and I will
Yeah.
do that till 5:30 or 6. Then I'll start supper for the kids. I'll get that all done, do all that stuff, and then from supper time until dark, it's me and kid time. I'll spend 3 hours, 4 hours with the kids every day doing whatever they want to do. Go down, visit my mama, go hang out, go fishing, go whatever. And then at 9:30, kids are in bed. Luckily, my kids are old enough they can be at home alone.
Yeah.
Uh, put them to bed 9:30 if they're not hunting with me, and load dogs up at 10 and do it all over again, every
Yeah.
day, every night. And 20 years ago, that was my dream job. And
And
then when I
now?
wake up and that alarm goes off, yeah, that alarm goes off at 8:30. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm not working at this battery plant up here north of my house that pays like $30 an hour.
Dude,
I work from 8 to 5. I come home, it's done.
I don't
So,
know.
it is what it is. I don't want to complain. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining because it's a fantastic gig, but it's not easy.
It's a grind though. When you're only doing like
Yeah.
I have really been slacking. I haven't been to the woods in a while, but like right now it's dry and I should be doing something to keep dogs in shape, but it's just I'm just kind of writing it off right now. Like until things cool down a little bit, then we'll go start exercising, maybe throw some dogs out and
Right.
maybe find a spot to go swimming or do something, but just kind of focus on the other stuff right now because that grind after a while is a grind. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, like you say, it used to be the dream job and now you're doing it. And it is, but you talk about 5 hours of sleep. This is how it works for me. I get home and I got to decide, am I going to take a nap or am I going to just wait up and get chores done and work until it's time to start open at W? Like if I'm home by
Yeah.
3, that's enough. It warrants me going to sleep for at least a
You're
little
right.
bit. If I get home at 4 in the morning and I got to be up at 7, I'm like, no, 2 hours is
No.
absolutely worse than missing a night's sleep. So I'll just
Yep.
do whatever. I don't know. I look like the tweaker in the neighborhood because I'm up till late and I'm up.
I do too. I know Sundays when I'm traveling, I will drive. We get done with that late round. Like we get done with the late round at Michigan. The sun was coming up. It was around 5:30.
Jeez.
I took off as soon as that late round was over. Threw the camera in the truck. Wet boots, wet clothes, wet everything. We hunted in a thunderstorm. I drive the 10 hours home. I get back at 3:30 Sunday night, and Sunday nights are the only night I don't hunt for not only because we go to church on Sundays and we do all the other stuff that we're supposed to
Sure.
do, but when I'm traveling on Sundays, I'll get home at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes. Sometimes I'll get home early in the morning like I did from Junction. I got in at 6 a.m. and check on dogs, clean kennels, do all that stuff, and then immediately go to sleep. And that'll be my only 8, 10, 12 hour sleep. One day, I think after we got done at South Carolina, I made that trip home after the late round, which was not a good idea. I would not suggest that, but I slept for
Oh.
18 hours straight. I woke up at hour 9, went to the bathroom, went back to sleep, and slept for 18 hours. So,
Sometimes you got to crash out, man. Like when
yes,
you hit the
sometimes
recharge,
about
oh,
once a month, I'm done.
there
I've
must be
had all I can
something
take.
with us, right? Like,
Mm.
I mean, just like
It's,
as a human, I don't know, because I'm a lot of the same way. Like when I
you
crash,
know,
I could crash out for a day, and then you're right back to it, couple hours,
yeah,
ready to rock and roll.
yeah. I've
Oh,
had a couple times where I really, because when you get in the finals of one of them hunts and you're just holding the camera, you want to be there as a competitor. You want to be there.
yeah.
I want to go beat Dustin Weed. I want to go beat John Strickland or whoever, And so I'll get fired up when I leave that cast and the adrenaline's still pumping. And I'm thinking, man, I got this dog at home. And I need to do this and do that. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
get this wild hair that I'm going to go hunting as soon as I get home. And I've done that twice, breaking my own rule hunting on Sundays, which I try not to do, but they did not end well. You're in a bad mood, you're tired, you're turning young dogs loose, you're turning a dog loose that needs some work. So I
Mm,
don't recommend that.
no.
But you get a fire put under you, and these dogs for some reason, I think we all have a little bit of a competitive edge, whether we're selling dog supplies or we're putting out podcasts or we're turning dogs loose to tree a lion or a cat or a bobcat or a coon or whatever. You
Absolutely,
get this
dude.
edge to you and you just want to do it and you can't help it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say that's the truth. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this. It's primal. To me, like dogs
Yeah.
and what they do is primal. Our connection to them is primal. Like you can't help it. You don't have to wish bad on something to elevate your own. Like to me, when I think
Right.
about dogs and taking them hunting, I could hunt with a very nice dog and witness something that, like think about how many people have really witnessed that top level of dog. I'd like to think that I've seen
Yeah.
a handful and consider myself extremely lucky. I'm only 38 years old. I've only been hunting dogs like a dozen years. But the dogs that I've seen and been able to grow enough to understand what those dogs are doing and what it's contributing and like all the pieces and finally putting all that together, you realize, holy crap, I've hunted with like 4 dogs that are absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you
And
didn't know it when they were alive
yeah.
and you were
Yeah.
not knowing what you were doing, but now it's like it's different. It's totally
All the
different.
dogs that I've hunted with and filmed winning, anything from $100,000 to, the finals of a youth hunt. Uh, I can only count maybe 6 or 7 that were just truly elite, great,
Great dogs.
holy cow type dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a position,
You're
and
in the heart of it.
I don't want to sound conceited or anything, but I've literally seen the final 4 of every major event for 3 years. you
Right.
know, I've seen all these dogs, and I could still only count 6 or 7 that I think, holy cow, that dog
Yeah.
is super special.
Yeah. And like you said, you're in the heart of it. You
Yeah.
get to see some dogs that are I mean, I would like to go hunt with some of the dogs. I'm gonna have to plan a trip to come see you just so I can go hunt with some of these dogs too.
We got a place you can stay. I got the man cave over there. all the doings.
I'll bring a
You can come hunt
videographer
with
and
me every night.
we'll
Heck yeah,
pop up. We'll do something
we'll
together.
we'll drive to every tree.
In your favorite hunting rig, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I'd feel right at home if we're rolling in the tracker.
Yes, I'm telling you. If I can't shine my lights on a tree, it is not a success. It's a failure. If my headlights are not shining that dog tree, and then I've failed as a hunter.
See, I feel like I'd get fatter down there. Because at least here
You
we got to walk
really
the
watch
trees.
yourself.
We can drive the roads, but
no, yeah, you got to watch yourself. No, I got up to like $100 or $280 there for a while. Good driving all these dogs all the time. I had to really mind my P's and Q's as I got older.
We jumped in ours. So Connor, my middle boy, he got in some trouble, got grounded from the field trial. So it was just me and Colin. I see
your wife's Facebook post. I can't believe Connor would ever get in trouble.
Oh, dude. Yeah, if you follow her, like you understand my pain.
It cracks me up. Tell Danny to keep those coming. Those are fantastic.
Bro, I am dead serious. I don't know how we parent that one. We love them all. They're all great kids. They're all very independent. And they are all extremely funny in their own way.
Yeah.
Like even the baby. Well, I don't want to say the baby. I'm going to get him confused. Casey. He just turned 3, but he's just now really starting to put his own sentences together. And he's already like Connor.
Yeah.
Like we're hosed.
Oh, yeah.
But he got in trouble. So he got grounded from the field trial, and the truck was broke down. So I told Colin, we'll either take the tracker or we stay home. I don't know what you want to do. That's a long ways in that car, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's 500 miles, but like it'll make it. I'm telling you, and we're gonna do
you
good.
Bet.
We got like 25 or 27 miles a gallon. Us, all of our camping gear, and a walker dog, and it was. All the way there, all the way back, about 70 mile an hour, just screaming. And then I know you have one. And Ben Sheets said he saw one in town for sale and he thought of me. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest hunting rigs you'll ever have.
They're the best hunting rig. And we're going to prove that on Kream Media when we do our hunting rig series, which should air here in the next week or two. But we got a criteria. It's mobility, affordability, capacity,
like all that stuff.
Yeah, we got a scorecard. We score them 0 to 20, I think, is what it is. And
there you go.
I can't see anybody beating my tracker. I just can't see it.
You got a winch on it just in case?
What's that?
You probably don't need winches, do you?
No, I got a winch on the front, but I've not yet used it. I've got close. Me and Jace got close here the other day, got in some mud, got it down to the frame. But luckily, my son's 13 years old now. He can drive. Mm-hmm. He takes the buggy everywhere. We call it the buggy, but he takes it down to his grandma's. He takes it fishing. He takes it all these places. And so he got to go in it, put it in 4-low, put it in reverse. I got out, got to pushing. We got the thing wallowed out of there. But yeah, I need to put one on the back. I've got my front winch, but I need one on the back.
Hitch.
Yeah.
I bought one because I needed it
the other day.
We bought one because we needed it, and then I still haven't put it on because that's how projects happen around here. I mean,
yeah. Well, mine's not on very good. I'm thinking like my last one, I just bolted it to the bumper on my first buggy, and like the first time I got stuck, it pulled the bumper off, and it was a mess. Yeah, so I need to do some work on the winch for sure. But you don't need them very often.
No, you can almost pick them up. Really, you get a couple strong guys.
Especially mine. It's stripped, no doors, no tailgate, no
nothing.
Probably
weighs
that thing weighs maybe 1,500 pounds.
Yeah, right. They're surprisingly heavy with their fully loaded, but you get them stripped down.
Their doors weigh 200 pounds a piece, it feels like.
Yeah, I would believe it. They're crazy. They are heavy for a little door.
Yeah.
So you guys are scoring dog boxes not dog boxes, hunting rigs. I saw you on Facebook there. That's gonna be good.
I've got a few guys because what we're gonna do is I've got 3 hunting rigs. I've got a 2011 Kia Sorento that I take when the kids are going. I love hunting out SUVs.
Yeah.
This thing's decked out. It's got all the lights, all the switches, all the cool stuff on it. It's a pretty good hunting rig. Then I've got the buggy that I hunt out of by myself if I'm not taking the kids with me. And then I have a 1988 Honda 300 four-wheeler, the Four Tracks 300, that if I really want to just wear one dog out and never want to take a step, not a single step, I can hunt the whole night and not get off the four-wheeler. I take that. And so those are my three buggies. We're working on editing all the footage from those three. We score them, we rank them, all that stuff, and then I'm gonna go travel to all these other guys. The bear hunting guys have the best rigs. I've been around.
Yeah.
Yes, they have the best hunting rigs, and so I'm gonna go bear hunting with some guys. I'm gonna go coon hunting with some guys. Maybe travel out west with some lion guys that are hunting up in the mountains with some cool rigs, and then we're gonna hunt. We're going to score them. We're going to rank them. And I hate to break it to them, but ain't nobody going to beat me.
I'm telling you, the bear hunters, the check sheet you got to have on there is like NASCAR speed. You know what I mean? Like when you're with bear hunters, I'll never forget. It was always me following guys around. You know, like when you're the new guy in camp and you're the kid, bro, like you were just following along. And somebody popped off a joke about, oh, you found second gear finally. Because when you learn to drive like those guys, it's crazy. And next thing you know, you're jumping your wife's truck and dang, you're wrecking it. But am I wrong? Bear hunters have different gears.
Yes, and coyote hunters out here in the Midwest are the same way. That. You'll see them go across chiseled cornfields and stuff that motocross guys would probably pump the brakes on.
That's nuts.
And they're just flooring it, trying to get in front of a coyote or something like that. But they're always driving half-ton trucks with a dog box in them.
With a drop box or something.
Yeah, that's not really a hunting rig. They drive that thing to take their kids to school and to go get groceries and stuff. That's not a hunting rig. That's just a half-ton truck with a dog box in it. We can all do that. So I want true hunting rigs. I want something that's purpose-built just to hunt dogs with. Some of the guys that will surprise you are the retriever guys. They've got air-conditioned dog boxes, multiple holes, especially the trainers. Sometimes
$10,000
they'll have trailers.
$50,000.
Yeah.
That's
so they're going to be way up there in capacity. They're going to be way up there in a few other things, but they're not going to be there with affordability or mobility. So
affordability,
you got to find that perfect balance.
I'm telling you, you go out, you buy one for $3,500, you find it somewhere. I got lucky. Mine was towed behind an RV. It's got literally less than 100,000 miles. It's probably got 60,000 on the motor. It's got some hard miles after that. Cause I'll tell you, going down the freeway, it's about 3,200 is what you're spinning.
Oh yeah.
But you can fit 235, 75, 15s on the stock wheels if you can get somebody to mount them up for you, or you got a can of starter fluid. And you will get 25 to 29 miles a gallon, even doing 70 miles an hour down the freeway if you got the cojones to do it. Because that is fast in those little turds. Those cars are so small.
Now, is yours an automatic or a 5-speed?
5-speed.
Yeah, see, the automatics, you're only going to get about 60 or 65 out of them. They're geared too low.
Yeah, this thing's geared like a SOB, but you can wind it. If you're doing about 70 down the freeway, 5th gear, it's about 35 hundo.
Yep. That's about what mine is too. I got a 5-speed too. I got mine for 4,000, which here rust is a big deal. You can't find them that aren't rusted. And so mine came from Alabama and rust free. When I went to pick it up, the guy was showing to me. He's like, the cruise control is a little funky. You got to kind of push the button in and out a couple times. I'm like, dude, I don't think you understand what's getting ready to happen to this
I'm about ready to screw your rig up.
Yes, I'm not worried about the cruise control.
Oh, man. Well, so is that going to be, I guess, is all your stuff released in one place? It's all on CanStream, but you're running the socials too. Is like, how are people finding you now? Because I know you had this big big plan. This was going to be handlers across the board with retrievers and this and that. And you said you guys kind of had to scale it back just to be feasible. I mean, really, you're running it ropes end as it is. So what is the focus right now that you've been in it and been doing it? And I mean, you guys have been having quite a few hunts, it seems like.
Yeah. And we got a 5-year goal when we started. What the initial idea was immediately Roku channel, buy a bunch of content, all that stuff. And the deeper we delved into that, that was just going to eat our budget up immediately. And so if it didn't work in the first 3 months, we were out.
For like content acquisition.
Never be able to do it again. Yeah. And so what we did is we started with the YouTube channel, which is at Kream Media. And then we started the Elite Handler series just to be able to focus hunts around the coverage instead of trying to get coverage around the hunts, which is always hard to do.
Right.
And so the end goal is to blend all these working dog sports, beagles, retrievers, squirrel dogs, big game dogs, any kind of working animal that competes or even hunts. That's what we want to bring into the Cane Stream fold, I guess, as you would say. And so by the end of year 5, we want Elite Handler Series hunts for the beagles, the squirrel dogs, the retrievers, and the pointing dogs. We want to be able to have all that, hire staff, do all that fun stuff. And then we also want to make sure to have our original programming, like the Dog Life series. It's been a real big success. We want to have, our top 10 series launched today, actually, with top 10 male competition coonhounds of all time.
I saw that.
All that stuff that will bring, it'll bring people that have no idea what we're doing. The idea is to bring the people that are not familiar with hunting dog sports into the hunting dog world through entertainment. And so we got to make these things entertaining. We got to make them watchable. And we started with coon hunts because that's what we're familiar with, but those are the absolute most miserable things to make watchable. It's all in the dark. The logistics of filming them are so much more difficult. And so we thought we'd start with the hard stuff first and get into some easier stuff. And that's the goal in the long run, is to bring, because Jason, you've been just the guys you hunt with. I'll bet you there are 3 or 4 of them that you're thinking, man, if I could just film this dude, everybody would love it.
Right.
We all got those.
Everybody's
guys.
got that.
And so that's the thing, is to get those guys out there in the public, whether they like it or not,
right.
And help people understand what we're doing, and that we're just folks, that we're not, these crazy bloodthirsty killers of, furry little animals that are just out there minding their own business and all that stuff, how the public views us. That's the goal. That's the end goal. And we just want to break even doing it. We're not out there to try to make a killing. And so far, so good. The reactions have been great. The membership has been good. It's exceeded expectations. The viewership has exceeded expectations, considering we just started this in October. We're not even our first year.
You guys
yet.
Started the same month we started with Full Cry, like our first issue and your guys' launch.
Exactly.
You were in.
Yep.
You were in the second one, I think.
The second one, yeah.
Because we wanted to get things rolling, and we're gonna have to do a follow-up too at some point. But like, it hasn't been that long. And I can tell you, I know this has been a crazy year for us. It's been a crazy year in general. But like, to do what you guys have done and stay consistent, it's almost like if you can make it to a year, you're good. Right? Like when we started the podcast, I'm like, oh yeah, if we can make it a year, we're good to go. Well, here it is 4 years later. Whatever. 4. I think 4.
And a lot of that's due to our members, our sponsors, all that stuff. Because when we started this, I was very transparent. I said, look, we're all going to lose money for about a year. Well, I'm going to lose sleep. You're going to lose money. That's the way it's going to go. I'm going to lose money too. I put a lot of my own money into it as well. And luckily, Everybody's been great, with Elite and Conkeys and Razor and Joy and all that stuff. And Wade's a partner in this. And so they've been able to weather the storm and to where they can see the light at the end of the tunnel to
Mm-hmm.
where, we're almost at that break even point. We're almost there, and we just gotta hope I don't tear an ACL or something.
I feel
Is
you.
about what it amounts to. We're gonna, yeah, we're gonna keep going. I love, like, I'm getting ready to do a dog life series with Niall Bartling, who's an MMA fighter and a friend of mine and a coon hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, look, we're gonna come up there. I'm gonna train with you. I'm gonna film you. We're gonna hunt at night. We're gonna do all this fun stuff, and I'm gonna spar with you. But you cannot hurt me.
Yeah,
It's
don't
like,
take
you
don't
can't.
take Josh out.
Yes. No, don't be calf kicking me and stuff, and I'm not gonna grapple because I know you're gonna arm bar me and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Just we're not doing any of that. I said, but w- we need to blend all this stuff. We need to blend the Western houndsman with the Eastern houndsman. We need to blend the bear hunter with the coon hunter. And then
Mm-hmm.
once we've done all that, and we've united all these working dog sports, and then next thing you know, we've got suburban housewives watching us, just like they did with Duck
Duck
Dynasty, or just like
Dynasty.
they did with, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
exactly. I
like
got
you
a
had
good Duck
said,
Dynasty
them
story
guys,
too.
like you're from that
Yeah.
region, right? I mean, and I follow them pretty regular, like not even so much during the Duck Dynasty days, but like now, and later on. Um, but that's just it.
Hmm.
It's the introduction. And like I was talking to you before we started hitting record, I'm sure that some of our listeners have seen I'm gonna get the name right or my wife is gonna kill me. The Hunting Dog Media Alliance, which is going to be
Hmm.
like a gathering place and a network for exactly like you're talking about. It probably fits you. And, I would say a few other guys like Chris and, like, and obviously us with the magazine and all that, but like cool things where we can all get together. We can resource jobs. Like if I go to Oaks, I can have my videographer. I could have somebody meet me there. You make these
Right.
connections. Like for you had already said, hey, you want to get out here and run some West Coast hunts. Like finding somebody here in the West Coast, I can tell you, like, now I have a guy. You get him here.
Yeah.
This is what he requires. And you got somebody that's at your beck and call for 3 days, And that was the goal
Yep.
because I think you knew what you were up against because you were pretty transparent with me in the beginning. And like to branch out that big and cover that much, dude, people don't understand the undertaking it is just to keep something as simple as one podcast once a week for the long haul. And you are biting off a ton and you've done well with it. I mean, that's really what I wanted to have you back on was just get an
Yeah.
update and remind people where to find you guys, what it's all about. I mean, if you had one sales pitch, I would say this is it.
Yeah.
Where are people
No,
gonna
and the
find
sales
you?
pitch is, yeah. Well, the sales pitch is we need to bring dog sports to the masses, and the people behind dog sports to the masses. And that's what we're trying to do at Cane Stream Media. Go to YouTube, type in Cane Stream Media, CANESTREAM. We get a lot of flack for the name, but Cane is, of course, another name for dog, and
Right.
we're a streaming channel, so it's Cane Stream. It makes a lot of sense to me. It didn't make a lot of sense to everybody, but you can find us right there on YouTube. Go to Cane Stream Media, like, subscribe. We have 3 tiers to join. Eventually, we're going to have to charge people to do the finals of all these major events, but we've been putting that off as long as possible,
Mm.
in hopes that we can bring all that stuff to everybody for free. But also, do you know how much the equipment is?
Oh
You know
yeah.
how much the time doing it is,
Time,
and we can't put
publication,
everything on the sponsors. Right.
and it's
I
tough.
I
And then
didn't
you got some good
realize,
sponsors.
I'm thinking, yeah, yeah, we got great
Like I
sponsors.
know you do.
We've
I
done
know the
really
guys that are
well.
backing you, and
I'm
it's
kind of,
a lot of support.
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of mad at Outbound Trailers. I hope they listen to this, because I have my Outbound Extreme. camper that I take to all these hunts that I stay in to save my motel bills. I love it. It's a cool camper. But I told them, I said, look, I'll feature this thing on a few videos. You guys throw me a little cash. I'll sell you campers and all that stuff. And they're not interested. So if anybody's listening to this, buy a Bushwhacker.
I'm telling you, we all need to get on the one rant. Like which advertisers? Because that's what,
I know.
Yeah,
and they are good. They are good people. I've sold them 2 campers already,
right?
just from people that have seen mine. And I'm thinking, maybe throw me a bone here, but they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so that just is more credit to the sponsors I do have, because man, they've been fantastic. They send me that money every month. They keep us going. The members that are paying that monthly due every month, they keep us going. I can't thank them enough. It's been awesome, and it's exceeded expectations to where we've been able to do more in this short time since October than I actually thought we would.
No, that's awesome, man. It seemed like it took off, and it really didn't have many hiccups. You guys kind of just jumped in and
I mean, not
to
externally. There's been a few internal hiccups that are just part of a growing business, growing project, I guess, if you would call it. But yeah, it's been pretty trouble free, really. But it's also reliant on people buying Joy Dog food, and people reliant on purchasing things from Elite Nutrition and buying a Razor Light from Conkey's Outdoors, because if people aren't doing that, they're not going to see the finals of the Pro Sport Truck Hunt. They're not going to see the finals of the PKC World Hunt. They're not going to see all this stuff that we do for members only, because we won't be able to afford it. And so, it trickles all the way down, just like hound economics do, to the person that's working that 9 to 5 and spending their money where it needs to be spent instead of, doing it somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we need to get you back on. I know Strickland, he's the interim champ. What do you have any idea when like the actual championship hunt's going to be?
I think because we've still got Dual Murphy to hunt. I think the matchup, which I actually pulled up the top 10 because I couldn't even think of them off my head. That's how sad
He's
it is.
He's done a few podcasts too, hasn't he? Dwell Murphy?
Yeah, no, yep, he has. Right now, Billy Bell is the number 1 contender. Ryan Krausen is second. But Dual Murphy and Scott Engel, Bobby Burden, and Sean Burden are the 4 that are in the top 10 that have not been able to book a hunt yet. And so we're trying to get Dual a matchup, maybe against Weed, even though he's 0-1, but he's still the GOAT as far as competition goes, in my opinion. Engel's still out there. Bobby's still out there. So we're trying to get Dual a matchup before we decide who Strickland's going to defend against. But I think Strickland's going to defend in either August or September. It's coming up. And so that's when the actual EHS world champion will be crowned instead of just the interim champion. And so it's going to be interesting. Dual's been on a good streak. He's a good hunter. Ryan Krausen just came off a big win against Steve Yant. Billy Bell, of course, he beat Michael Ward right at the beginning of all this. He was our first EHS hunt, and he beat a really tough dog with one of the best handlers on the planet. And, that's why he's the number 1 contender. And so there's a lot to be hashed out still. We've got some guys that are getting ready to match up outside of the top 10, and they're trying to climb their way in there. You got a lot of guys that are knocking on the door of being in the top 10 and getting a title shot too. So it's interesting. I wish we could have one every week, but with my schedule and the fact that what people don't understand is it costs us a pretty good chunk of change every time we have an Elite Handler Series event. There's no entry fee. The hunters get paid just to show up. They get a pretty good chunk of change just to be there. And then the winner gets even a better chunk of change. There's all kinds of bonus money. And I think that's important to make sure and maintain that, and not, hey, we want you to have this hunt, but we want to cut your earnings down a little bit or do something like that. We're not going to do that. Right. These guys are going to get paid. These guys are going to get paid for their hard work. And the bottom line is we're making money off of them. We're not making as much as we're spending right now, but I can't have a hunt and film a hunt where I may make a couple $100 and not pay them guys.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's the thing. We want to make sure and pay all the hunters. We want to make sure and do everything right. And so we're looking at an EHS hunt every month. And, that's pretty much the schedule we've been on ever since we started. And I'd say there should be one that airs in July, there should be one that airs in August, and you're looking at either a championship in August or September.
Heck yeah, man. No, it's good to see it's doing well. And it's,
Yeah.
you always wonder, is it going to go? I'm sure you're like me,
Yeah.
like any project, you've done it probably 50 times in your life with you've done a lot of cool stuff, but it's like, is it going to go? Is it going to be what I expected it to be? And it just seems like it's been really well received by the public.
I remember the very first EHS hunt, and I got it put up and I got it uploaded, and I told Wade, I said, if this don't have 1,000 views by the time I wake up in the morning, I said, shut it down. I said, we're beating we're beating our head against the wall for no reason. There's no point in it. And I think it had like 3,000 or 4,000 or something like that when I woke up, and I was just like,
pretty good.
Well, this went off better than I thought. I'm an eternal pessimist. People don't understand that about me. I'm always glass half empty. This is never going to work type guy.
Right.
and so I've been impressed, and I've been surprised actually by the reception that we've got, and I'm more than happy with it.
Right on. Well, that's good to see, man. One of these times, because you said you're working the hunts around the like when you can get a film crew there, when you can have like you're kind of working on a weird schedule too. But seriously, if you guys are doing one close to an event, let me know, because I'll be flying in for a few probably this year. I've got to limit what I do, but I would love to come and do an article or check it out. You guys are doing your own media there, but I'd love to see like behind the scenes of what you're doing and go see some dogs.
Well, I tell you what, if you get to Autumn Oaks, let me know. I've got some EHS hunters that are on the roster right there. I'm trying to get something done the week of Oaks. And so if you get out there, let me know.
I'll be there.
You follow us around, I'm gonna stick a camera in your hand.
I might actually have a videographer that, if you're good with, sharing some content, whatever, like we could have a second camera running for you too.
Yeah, you bet.
That'd be awesome, actually.
Yeah. No, anytime, because
two birds, one
what
stone.
People don't understand is I'm usually the cameraman. The everything. I do all the editing. I do all that stuff.
Dude.
And so every now and then I'll be able to get that second camera in the woods. Kevin Ellis helped me down in Texas. Chip Hunt helped me down there at the Yant and Krausen event. But 99% of the time, I'm the only camera in the woods. You guys want to use that content for yourself, that's great too. We can always share on. There's enough for everybody. That's what a lot of guys in the hound sports don't understand, whether they're competing or they're running lions out west, or they're running bears in Wisconsin or Virginia or whatever. There's enough
out there.
Yeah, there's enough out there. We can share. We can do all that good stuff, and we're still going to get ours and be able to help another dog man, and that's all right with me.
Well, that's what I've always appreciated about you, because we've talked about that a lot. It's like, you throw a camera in our hands, we can help you out. Like, you guys scratched our back, and it's never like a score cap. I can really appreciate, there's a few of you guys out there that have just always been above the board, brutally and bluntly honest, probably at times, but transparent, and have that attitude. I said it for years before I even came to work for W. I made a living sweeping up the breadcrumbs around the table, and I was okay with that. There is enough out there for all of us. I will never like tell a guy, screw you, basically. Like, if there's a way that we can all work together, obviously that's the best. That's why we're trying to do some of these things we're doing and whatnot. But I'm working on some stuff. So if you want to do some big game filming, I may have some good contacts for you to help with camera and production. And you and me going to have to do some talking off air.
Yeah, no, we'll do that. I want to get out there because, I've done the dog life with Shorty. I've done a few other things, but there's a mystique to Western big game that houndsmen in the East do not have and will never have. We don't have that I don't know what to call it. Maybe that cowboy Western type aura about us, and we just don't. And that's fine. I'm good with that. But there's something out there that people want to see and hear and all that stuff. And so I'd love to capture that. I like it. I remember when I went to Shorty's and done the Dog Life series, we had a bunch of houndsmen over for supper that night, and I did not have the cameras rolling. And these were guys that probably didn't want to be on camera. I don't know. I wasn't in my place to just stick a camera in everybody's face and do all that stuff. But we sat down, we had a few beers, we had a great big steak. The Whitaker brothers are there. There's a bunch of other guys there. And I'm just having this whole conversation in the back of my mind thinking people would love to see this.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if they would or not. I love to see it, and the thing that I've done, Chris Powell gave me some good advice one time, right when I first started doing some Houndsman XP podcasts. He said, and my listeners and viewers and customers and stuff may not want to hear this. He goes, but don't ask people what they want to hear. Show them what they want to hear. Show them what they want to see. You got a good eye for it. Go ahead and do it. And so far, so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to get some of that Western stuff because I think that's one key of transcending, hound sports into not just hound people watching it and other people watching it.
It's adventure. Like I was talking with a buddy the other day. There's an adventure
aspect to it. Yeah.
I said you sell adventure and emotion. That's it.
Yep.
But that is the nostalgicness. That is the West Coast. Because I was telling him, like, you think that those coon hunters don't care about lion hunting. I'm telling you, there is a pile of them that is their dream. They have done nothing but dream about it for 50 years. And it is a weird connection through a disconnect of East versus West, big game versus small game. That, like, mountain lion hunting seems to be like, that's the one holy grail. That's elk packing in the eagle caps on horseback, right? Like, that is all that's, man, you are lion hunting. I went and I bought a 1916 Winchester saddle ring carbine just to go kill a lion with a 100-year-old rifle. Like, I want to go do it on horseback in the snow, man, from Snowy River, whatever. I'm telling you, like, there is a nostalgicness to that it's primal. That's all I can say. It is primal.
I remember because when we first had a buddy of mine killed a mountain lion here just north of my house in 2002, I think. Probably came from the Black Hills, traveling through Iowa, about 25 miles north of my house. I live right on the Iowa-Missouri border. Mm-hmm. And they seen it cross the road. They turned some English coonhounds loose on it. They treat it. They got it shot. In Iowa, they're not protected. You're willful, or you're completely within the law shooting a mountain lion. And so they take this cat. He was a 127-pound young Tom. And they brought it to our store. At that time, we had a feed store and an archery shop and a gun shop and all that stuff that in a town of 200 went broke, like I know now would probably do. And they brought it in there and made people crowded around it and stuff. And I'm thinking, man, I would love to tree one. I'm 21 years old at that time. I'm thinking I would love to tree one. I looked around for lion tracks for the next 10 years, I think, every time it snowed here.
Yeah. No
and so
kidding.
There's just something about it. There's something about, and you fantasize about seeing the lion track and turning loose and your dog's getting way through the country and having to stay all night and camping and turning loose on the next day and running for 3 days and all that stuff. There's something about it. And then to bring that to people that are in Connecticut or Maryland or way out on the East Coast or even in LA or some crazy place like that, that's my dream. I want to be able to bring that lifestyle and that experience, as much as you can have it over the interwebs into people's homes, because it's freaking cool. I don't care who. And I hate horses. The only time I would ride a horse is probably to go catch a mountain lion of some kind. Yeah,
That's the only way. I
told Shorty when I went out there, look, I'm coming out. We ain't got to ride a horse, do we? Because I hate horses.
That's funny. Yeah, we're gonna have to get together, man. And I'll see you at Oaks. I'll be there. And
oh yeah.
we'll have to touch base, but definitely if you need a hand out there on something like that, I should probably have some time. I may have an extra hand with me. So definitely let's stay in touch.
Let's just plan it. Let's just plan me trying to get a hunt together at Oaks. You got my number, my Facebook, all that stuff. We'll coordinate, and I'll try to get a couple EHS hunters together around that time, and you guys come out with us. You'll like it.
There you go. Sounds good, man. We'll stay in touch. I'll shoot you a message here. I got to meet with my guy here in a couple of days and figure plans out. But I'll probably be in touch with you in the next week, and then we'll get you back on periodically, man. Like, I just want to keep touching base and encourage people. Go check out Kream Media. You know, Josh has got a lot he bit off here, and he's doing a pretty dang good job with it. And I appreciate the hard work. I know what you're putting into it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jason. Like I said, you guys need anything from me, you just reach out. I'm always here to help.
Absolutely, dude.